The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories, share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. The question would be, gents, if you could do your whole life again, what would you change and why? I know I'd have joined the Special Forces before my second tour. And why? Because I just wanted to be the ultimate ninja. So like those guys today that you saw at the football who are just standing up, looking like mean machines, that's what it's about for me.
We're getting over, isn't it?
So what would you lot be?
What would you lot career-wise now?
Yeah, well, just general.
Anything.
What would you do? Would you do the same career? Would you meet the same people? Would you?
Do you know what? I reckon if I'd we all went to the same school, so you don't know. So if I was slightly more, what do you call it? If I had like a hustler's mentality, is what I'm saying. Like I was hustling in school, that would have conditioned me to probably be more successful now. If that makes sense.
It's funny you say that. So I used to hustle, and I got pulled up by the head of year for saying school is not a stock exchange or a business market.
Right. But you stopped, innit?
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't stop, because if you find a way of still going around that rule, you'd be a different kind of genius.
Yeah, because you had to learn to navigate. What I found with those skills there, you had to learn to navigate people. So you had to learn, let's say you're doing little things like hiring out a pencil, rubber, stationery, whatever, bringing in sweets to sell, those kind of things. There's people who want to take things on tick. As we know, not everybody, in business, why would you allow people to take things on tick? Yeah, and then if people who don't pay their debts, so how do you get the money? Do you write it off? If you write it off, then other people may do the same thing. Just like the world of drug dealer. Now, do you use violence to get your way to send a message to people? Yeah, but then you've got the law, and the law in school is the head teachers, and things like that. So what do you how do you think? So I never saw an issue, and I didn't see it as wrong either. But obviously the school themselves did. Well, whether it's a thing because I was black and I was maybe seen as a bully, even though I wasn't at that moment, that time in my school, I don't know, I never know. But all I know, I was called out of class, and the rights were read to me, and that kind of thing.
But in school, you were a Christian then?
No, this is even before younger.
Really?
Yeah, I've been doing stuff from very, very young age.
Okay, so the Christian thing was a stopgap then, was it?
No, this was before, because remember I moved to my gran when I was 14 and a half.
Right.
So that's the very last stages of secondary school. Secondary school. In that respect. Yeah, wait a minute, I think I'm going the wrong way.
You're going the right way there. And then you can take a right there.
Yeah. So what would... But also, just before we get into that, a question I really want to ask you guys is, how do you think we can solve our problem for Africa? And when I say that, I mean there's the big rush for Africa. There are the natural resources, you've got the Chinese, you've got the Europeans, you've got the Americans, you've got the Russians, you've got every man and his dog trying to get into Africa, get natural resources, whatever they can get. How can we make Africa, you could say, great again? Because obviously we're the first empire on the planet in the retrospect of...
Well, see, I want to say my own outline, but we mostly do anyway. It's just that we bargain with it in a way that's more to our detriment. So for us, it's like you can sell your land and you can lease it. Right? And to lease it, there's more money in it than to sell it in the long run. I'm talking about generally, because really and truly, you need that land, and your children's or the next generation is going to need that. So that's what the leasing is for.
Alright, I'll point out something in relation to that comment then. I googled the other day the top 10 African mining companies.
Okay.
To no surprise, they were all foreign companies. all white led,
Yep.
nothing to do with, you know, indigenous people in Africa
Yeah.
or anything like that. So that kind of sets a standard of what one of our problems are. So how do you think you can solve that?
So I'm talking about, okay, so that's why I was saying that owning it, we already own it, but we just, like I said, we bargain with it into our detriment. So again, if they're mining, if our land being mined by foreigners, then we need to figure out how to, we need to be more educated on how to actually make more out of it. You know? But the thing about it is that, the hardest thing about it is that once we tap into, what do you call it, into that sort of bargain chip where we're gonna make more out of it, then they start getting the disruptions. Things like, you know, things get infiltrated, where you get, you know, you might even get wars in our countries. You see what I mean? That's my fear, you know.
What do you think?
So that's a very complex question, man. Because from the start, this the way we've been colonized has had a huge impact on us. Like, yeah, even Nigeria, the name, it's not even, that's something the Europeans coined for us, the name of the country. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to break that chain, it's gonna take generations, man.
Don't even get me started on the language thing.
Do you feel that it would be a wise thing for Africa to shut its doors to outside powers for at least 10, 20 years, if not longer? And when I mean that, I mean there'll be no NGOs from foreign countries, there'll be no high commissions or embassies from foreign countries, there'll be no major investment from foreign countries, and they will just start and sort things out themselves.
Well, it's almost like going back to farming again, isn't it?
Why? Because you still have technology now. You have a lot of people around the world.
Technology made by who?
Bear with me. You have still a lot of technology, and let's say Silicon Valley in America is, and San Francisco is mainly Nigerians and Asians. Yeah. So all those skilled people
In America.
Yeah, in America.
Right, but they're in America.
Yeah, bear with me.
Okay.
So you can call on those people to help on on helping their motherland. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But my point is, as you pointed out about saboteurs and all those things, you can't move forward if you're always being sabotaged by foreign powers. Do you see that?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So there's going to be a common time where you say, it's like you're trying to have a party and you know the floorboards are weak, the house is actually in structural disrepair, but you want to have the party, so you think if you put vinyl flooring down, then that will stretch and stop even if the floorboards break, people won't really notice. Well, no, eventually it's going to collapse and fall in on itself. So you just have to say, okay guys, everyone out. Unless you're a carpenter, unless you live here, and if you live here, then you're going to be on the team to help fix this place. And once we sort out this house, no matter how long it takes, we will let you know, and you will be able to come back. But obviously, you're going to come back on our terms because we've done all the work, and it was our place in the first place.
Yeah, that all sounds very peaceful.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be because you'll have to get them out.
Yeah, I know.
And getting them out would be interesting.
Even getting them out, even once they're out, I don't think that would be the end of it.
You'd have to have a good military force.
Exactly.
No, I think they,
Go on.
I think it just needs to operate the way the Europeans do, man. In the sense that they don't mind taking our money.
Yeah, but they have a military force. They have a military force. They've got firepower. You see, we don't really operate like that.
Do you see what he's saying?
No, what I mean is that they don't mind, we shouldn't mind taking their money the same way they don't mind taking our money.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is...
Yeah, but they've got the advantage of being organised and structured.
They're very systematic, and they have firepower.
For instance, one of the biggest problems...
We don't have firepower.
No, I'm not talking about firepower, but we
we're going to need it.
You can be strategic too.
Yeah,
we
but
have intelligence too.
Right,
we can negotiate too.
No, I don't dispute about negotiations. What Humphrey's saying here is, if you really look at it, is that we know, that if you play their game, you play their game better than them. What they will do in turn is
the 10 bullies, isn't it?
Yeah, and they will have a reason for a war.
Yeah.
Even if it's a WMD war. Yeah, WMD, you're bad. Let's bomb you back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
So you need to be seen as a force. You need to be like China. What, 30 years China went from one
village to
to the superpower.
Right.
Now they got so much money. You look at the infrastructure they have. There's glass bridges just going across canyons and through the sky and all this other thing. They're inventing all this new technology.
So what are you saying?
So basically,
you need to push them out of the country.
Yeah.
And then how do you do that? Without the military?
No. What I'm saying is that you need to build one.
Yeah, but you need to build one, but you also need to say, just need to say, guys, you've got to leave. Guys, and it's a change of government, and we're did this sort of system, and we're nationalising our mines, and so you're not getting any more copper.
But the thing is, that's how I said, it all sounds very peaceful.
I'm interested to hear
that's why I'm saying we need to operate the way they do. As in, we come into their country. Yeah. We can come into their country. There's no problem. Just abide by our rules. So similarly, they should be able to go into our country, abide by our rules, and we should be able to negotiate very well so that they do so. And if they don't abide by our rules, the same way, if we don't abide by their rules here, there will be serious repercussions. That's it.
Right, but then we need firepower to back that talk.
Before you get there, let's have the repercussion thing set in place first.
Right.
So you can't just come in and just do what the hell you want.
I agree there. But the thing is,
it's also implemented
to build it.
Yeah, but it's not. There's a couple of things here. I hear what Humphrey's saying. Yeah. What one of the things is you need a force to show that your people, your thing to be reckoned with. Even before China had a massive military in the sense of technology, they have numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, they have over 100 million people in the military. Yeah. That alone just says, listen, it's going to be exhausting.
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. Let's try and find another way. Then later on, technology comes in, if you see what I'm saying. But what I'm looking at is that what I found from living in Kenya is that it's a mindset of the locals. When people weren't willing to follow the system for the good of the nation. It's like rats in a bucket or crabs in a bucket. They're always pulling each other down. So that corruption element was always going to be the bone of contention, because you're opening your business and people, local authority in Kenya does the most corruption more than anybody else.
Oh really?
Yeah, because if you work for the council, and you're a building control, doesn't matter whether you pay the fees or not, you need to pay me, and you need to pay me the same amount of the fees.
Wow.
So do you see what I mean? To get the sign off on the building. Yeah? Do you see what I mean? That's why a lot of buildings were collapsing with people in them. And so there's like 400 buildings they decided to knock down because they weren't at building control space. But they had all been signed off. They'd all been signed off. Do you see what I mean?
Anything those people are doing there in Kenya, it's learnt behaviour. They've picked it up from the people that have taught them, that have colonised them.
Well, in that case, right, I dispute that. You know why, Dada? Because our system doesn't work like that here. Building control, I can't bribe building control to let them pass my building.
Yeah, the corruption is it's a lot more. It's a lot more refined.
There's a lot of corruption.
It's a lot more
I don't dispute that, but I'm talking.
The difference is it's just not done overtly. That's the only difference.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's the only difference, man.
You know the way I look at it. I always use it. I coin the term. You've got direct corruption and indirect corruption. Indirect corruption is.
That's something about covertly, no?
Sorry. Indirect corruption is. I'll just give you my take on it. Indirect corruption is where let's say for the schools. Remember when we were in school, free school dinners and all those kind of facilities were free, taxes were set at a certain amount and the population was less. Now we've got more population, we don't get free school dinners, the buses are expensive, stationery you have to pay for as well, higher education you have to pay for, the dentist you have to pay. Those are corruption because they sell it off to private companies, but what did they do with the money? Yeah, but it was paid for by the public, us. That's the indirect corruption. Direct corruption is where I saw in Kenya that you're driving and a policeman pulls you over and says, if you want to carry on further down this road, you've got to give me some money. Or a woman in the middle of the night, her child's sick, she's gone to an NGO hospital where it's meant to be free, and the doctor's like, if you don't pay me, I'm not looking after your baby, even though it's meant to be free. That's direct corruption and that's indirect corruption on what I was saying. So they affect you in different ways, they're both wrong, but I know if I have a problem in the middle of the night and I call the police, I don't have to pay for the police to come, or I don't have to send someone to pick them up to come to my house. Or where I was in Kenya, if you have a car crash, an accident, and even if it's a bump, you have to call the police before the other person calls the police, because if he calls the police first, that means it's your fault.
In Kenya?
Do you see that logic?
Yeah?
Regardless of whether it's his fault or not, he could have run into the back of me.
Yeah. So it's who calls the police first? Is they going to be their words against yours?
Yes.
Yeah. They've got infrastructure in place, I guess. They've got infrastructure in place here.
Yeah. And that's done through law and order.
Right. So then so maybe that's what we need then. So going back to what Mark was saying, and do it in the same way, we need to do that law and order here. But like I was saying, but you need that plus the muscle.
Yeah, but law and order, changing the people's mindset, is you really changing the next generation's mindset.
Right, and that's when the youth thing comes.
And that's when, it's 20 years. Yeah. That's the 20 years times the generations every 20 years.
That's like China, did it?
Did they? I don't know. I need to research.
No, because it's like obviously they're educating themselves. They're studying what's done over here. You know, back in the 90s, where you see loads of Chinese over here with cameras.
Yeah.
I've got a last question for you. Knowing what you know now in life, when it comes to relationship, do you wish you would have got married earlier and settled down earlier? Or you would have happy?
Yeah, but I've always been a relationship kind of guy anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, married, children, and all those things earlier, like in your late 20s?
I think so.
Yeah. Not in my 20s, maybe.
Well, no, I mean,
my 30s.
I mean, I could have done it in my 20s because, you know, after one girlfriend, I went to another girlfriend and whatnot. You know, if I dabbled in the market in no longer than maybe 18 months, and then back into a relationship. So yeah, I could have done it. I could have done it a lot earlier. I could have done it, especially around 28, 29.
Oh, you would have done it like that? Yeah, that age.
Yeah.
And what would you have done then?
I would have said not far from Freezy, maybe 30, between 32, 35. Yeah.
For me, because I've lived the life of an adventurer,
Traveller.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because if you marry, there's no way. If I was married, I could just say and get up and go and fight a war. By the way, we hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.